You're listening to For the Republic, a love letter to Star Wars animation.
Hello there.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of For the Republic, a love letter to Star Wars animation. I am one of your hosts, Andrew, here today. Thank you for joining us once again on our journey through Star Wars. And believe it or not, guys, we actually talk about the Clone Wars here. It's been quite a long time since we've dived back into our Clone Wars rewatch, but we are back here to talk about the Blue Shadow Virus.
Shadow Virus.
This is just
or as I like to call him, the Peppy Bow arc. Well,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
even though she appears in one episode.
But we got the whole crew here today. Connor, Don, and Jake are here with us to talk about the Blue Shadow Virus
up,
on
everybody?
the waning hours before we get the Mando season 3 trailer. So it's probably going to drop like right after we stop recording, but who knows here? So this is honestly one of my like most rewatched arcs in the first season. So it was like nice to like finally go back and rewatch it for the podcast, because
Definitely.
like before we started this pod, this was one of the ones that I like rewatched like the most recent. So like getting to see it again, like in the lens of like how we do it for the pod and like writing the notes and stuff was pretty fun. Although this episode, I gotta imagine the way you watch it has perpetually changed forever since 2020.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
COVID-19, the episode.
It was too real.
Mm-hmm. There are certain
it's like-
points where he's like, "This virus has gone airborne." I'm like, "Oh no!"
Yep. It's like a bit where like clones were like coughing, and I was just like, oh, I
Yep.
just felt like uncomfortable shivers. It was like, no, this is getting too real.
Yeah, no, there are a couple things in this arc that I was like, I gotta imagine like watching this in 2008 had to have been like a completely different experience than watching it now. But I'll get to that when we get there. We got to talk about our first episode, which is called Blue Shadow Virus. It's directed by Giancarlo Volpe, written by Craig Titley. Our moral is fear is a disease, hope is its only cure. And like I said, this is the COVID arc, essentially, of the Clone Wars, because it's a bit real. Like a lot of the symptoms and stuff, it's like, this is... Dave, how did you predict this, man? Like, this is kind of scary.
Dave Filoni created
George.
COVID. Hashtag confirmed.
Confirmed.
Dave, George, the writers, the executive producers, everyone involved in this episode. How'd you know?
How'd you know?
Yeah,
man?
it's like everyone makes jokes about like the Simpsons always predicting shit from like 20 years ago. Like, you know, Star Wars Clone Wars is also like here doing that kind of stuff.
Like there needs to be, we
turns
need to
out-
make a meme, and I'll send it to you, Andrew. It's that like stock photo image of a kid with a dodgeball in the foreground, and then like a bunch of kids blurred out in the background, and it's it has to do with like, and like the kids are, all the kids in the background, they have a text of a random internet user trying to be funny, and then the kid throwing the dodgeballs his name has the text Apollo, and then the dodgeball is the gift of prophecy. We just need to do that with this episode of just Apollo, the gift of prophecy. Clone Wars writers when making the Blue Shadow Virus arc.
Oh no! Don just said something horrific in the group chat, and
no.
I gotta do something with that. So
yeah.
one thing
What is that?
that we will get into before we start the actual episode is to just real quickly talk
God
about
damn
what
it,
we...
Don.
I know it's horrible. But to talk about what we've been posting lately on the podcast feed, if you have not checked it out yet, first of all, we did our best Star Wars stories of 2022 episode last week, which is one of my favorites that we've ever done. Connor and I talked about that on our last Bad Batch episode, but if you have not seen that yet, please give that a watch. I did some fancy schmancy editing for it on our YouTube page. You can subscribe there, youtube.com/For the Republic podcast. And yeah, it's a really fun episode. I really loved it. We talked about our favorite stories of the year. We were Kind of shocked by a lot of people's lists, but that's the beauty of this show is everyone's list is different. Where is he?
None of, I don't think any of you. Well, maybe Jake. Jake, I feel like could have probably predicted my number one. Probably.
Yeah. I mean,
I guess,
when you said your number one, I was like, of course it was
I
that,
figured
because
it
I should
out.
have known.
Like midway through, it was there was one in particular that I was like not expecting to be on your list. The others, like I figured would be on there. It was the placement.
Yeah.
Yeah, Indoor being 5 was wild.
I rewrote. To be fair, I rewrote my list like about 4 separate times in the lead up to it.
Yeah.
So, because there were things I forgot that like came out in 2022 because like there was a lot, not only with shows but with books and comics. Man, I just forgot.
One of yours I completely forgot was this year. Was last year technically now, but I was like, oh yeah, that was 2022, and it just completely like graced my mind. But really fun video. You guys should check that out. And also, we speaking of Star Wars animation, if you want to hear us talk about that more, we are currently covering The Bad Batch as it's airing. We just put out a recap of The Solitary Clone on Friday. Connor and I talked about one of my new favorite episodes of The Bad Batch. It is so damn good. And
it rules.
Good soldiers follow orders.
Love that episode.
Oh boy!
The more I think about it, the more I like it.
I'm not a Bad Batch fan too. I don't like The Bad Batch.
Do you know what I think Do you know what I think the secret weapon was to that episode? It was a Clone Wars episode smuggled in for the most part, and then the Bad Batch part took back over again, and the transition was so good that
it's
it
like
just
you get the Clone Wars episode, and then you're like, this feels like Clone Wars, but it's also like something's not right here.
And
it
has like was still heavily the focus.
Yeah,
and it has like a structure.
With the scene at the end
like a
with
structure
Cody and
similar
Tawny,
to this,
and you're just like, oh, okay, now it feels a bit different, and then it just goes to a whole new level. But now let's talk about Nazi doctors trying to create a plague around the Earth. So battle droids. What a guy. What a guy.
My goodness.
So battle droids are discovered on Naboo. We're like, oh no, it's Phantom Menace all over again.
They're discovered on Naboo again. This keeps happening. Padme and Jar Jar are sent Next
to
thing
investigate.
you know, the third Jedi game, we're going to go to Naboo. And there's going to be a bunch of reprogrammed battle droids.
Yeah, it turns out like Jabo Hood like settled down there and like just brought a load of his pals with him.
Jabo Hood and Jedi 3. That would be
God.
That would be the poll of the century.
It's like Dave just shows up. It's like, all right, I got an idea for you. Cal Kestis versus Jabo Hood. It's what we didn't know we wanted it. But now that we think about it, we still don't know if we actually want it. But it's happening.
That's batshit crazy enough to make me want it.
Yeah.
But I will say the first couple shots of this episode did get me very nostalgic for Phantom Menace. Not only just, there's battle droids on Naboo again, but also just seeing.
Yeah. This reminds me of Phantom Menace.
The hangar when we got there.
Reminds me of the Phantom Menace.
Movie called The Phantom Menace, because in this episode there's a bunch of N1s showing in the hangar, and then in that movie there's also a bunch of N1s showing in the hangar.
Yeah. And they also like go to the hangar that like Obi-Wan and Darth Maul like fought in. It's like really cool and shit.
Captain Typho's there, and it's like Sick Attack of the Clones reference, like
Sick High Republic reference.
Yeah. But no, I did get super nostalgic just seeing the N1s in the background of the hangar, because we don't really see them much.
The scene in Book of Boba Fett where Din Djarin
wait a minute,
he repurposes an N1 Starfighter.
You mean this?
Yeah, it was Wizard. That's what it was. It was really
this
Wizard.
Thing that we're gonna probably see later tonight. Fuck it, bro.
Yes.
Don't destroy it. I fucking destroyed it.
It's
crash landing.
Another happy landing. Yeah. Okay. So. Yeah, I got pretty nostalgic, like making the jokes all you will, but like seeing all that stuff again was just really nice to see. And it was a nice, like, even though we're like knee deep in the Clone Wars at this point, it was a nice Phantom Menace reference early on. Also, shout out to Padme's outfits throughout this arc. Like this first one, like she was just like dripped out. I really enjoyed it. And then later in the episode, she gets like maybe my favorite Padme look, which I love.
Undoubtedly just
with the vest, right?
Yeah, the vest
has the best costumes ever.
Yeah, no,
just like her, dude. Her collection is insane. She has something for like every day of the week, every month, and just.
That's the main reason I want that like $500 Dressing the Galaxy like book that they have, because I just want to see all of like what went into Padme's costume design. Like,
because there's just so much detail.
You could do an entire doc just on the costume design of the prequels, and I would watch the shit out of that.
I saw a video on Instagram recently of one of the costume designers from I think Revenge of the Sith talking about one of the dresses that they made for Padme, where they like randomly did like red, brown, and blue thread, but in a way that made it so depending on how you looked at the dress, it appeared a different color.
Ooh.
And I don't know if it ended up being used, but I would like George was talking about it in the clip, and I was like, "Whoa, that's nuts!"
They predicted the dress, the Twitter dress that changed.
George is a prophet.
Is it black and blue or is it white and gold, guys?
Black and blue.
We still don't know.
Next thing we're gonna find out that they predicted.
It was
we're gonna find out next.
Black and blue.
Yeah, we're gonna find out next episode that they like predicted Laurel and Yanni.
Oh my god!
Those are gonna just be the names of two
I
clones.
forgot about that.
I also did. There's just gonna be all right. Yeah, so we got Captain Yanni and Sergeant Laurel here, and we'll be like, fuck? Dave, what are you doing, man?
But yeah, I totally agree with you, Andrew. Like that opening shot of like the nostalgia infusion of like seeing the hangar again, the N1s. It was all just really awesome. And then like to go in, we also get like a cool use of 3PO in this episode as well, because like you have 3PO with the droid, you know, because they turn off the droid's eyes, and 3PO has to sort of like pretend to be like his droid superior. Yeah, and he has a line that because like as a person on the autism spectrum, I relate so hard to 3PO saying, I may need to shut down to avoid sensory overload. It's like, yeah, I relate to that so hard.
Yeah, that 3PO. I really enjoyed that scene. Yeah. We've got a lot of like, because we had Bomb Bad Jedi, which had like the Newt Gunray aspects of Phantom Menace, and now we have Blue Shadow Virus, which is the droid invasion aspect. They're just like they're teasing us here with the Phantom Menace love. But yeah, they do like autopsies on the droids, which just the sentence alone is just like it's such a Star Wars thing. Like, yeah, we did an autopsy on.
Well, they call it like droid. A robo lobotomy or something.
Yeah, robo lobotomy.
Yes, literally a robo lobotomy. That's what they call it.
And the tactical droid, when they're trying to mess with it, reveals that a small amount of a virus has leaked out into Naboo. And he reveals a secret lab there. So they got to go figure out what this lab is and what this virus is before some dangerous stuff happens. But of course,
the thing I love the most is that they find out the general location of the lab because Jar Jar was like, didn't he put on a helmet and tried to get it off? And he
put on a droid dome.
A droid
dome, knocked over a bunch of shelves. And then something happened to the point where,
Jar Jar hijinks destroyed the droid, but because of the mud or something that was on the droid or the bug.
And then Jar Jar was like, "Oh, I know where that is," and I'm like, Jar Jar, how the fuck?" And I was like, "Oh wait, he's a native of Naboo. This makes sense."
I think this is kind of like a good point for me to like offer my personal theory about Jar Jar, because there's all the whole like Darth Jar Jar theories that go around, but my personal theory about Jar Jar is that he is actually force sensitive, but he doesn't know it, and that's why he's so clumsy, because it's the force like manifesting in him without like subconsciously, like the force is almost kind of like pushing him in like certain directions and stuff. Because like you see it kind of throughout the episode, all the different kind of stuff that happens with Jar Jar, it almost kind of feels like purposeful, like to drive the story in a certain direction. Like, yeah, it is often also story mechanics, but there's kind of like it almost feels like he's being directed by something like bigger than himself, really. Like, because we see that with the insect, like he's just trying to get an insect, and he winds up, because of the insect, like telling them where the base is. It's just it's really cool.
Almost
It's
kills,
just a really good use of Jar Jar.
Almost kills Padme trying to shoot a droid later. But yeah, like it was a great start to the episode. But this is not Ahmed Best as Jar Jar, so it's one of those like weird ones where I'm like,
BJ Hughes.
This feels weird. Like he's done some good voice work in the show, but like this is like it's not Ahmed. Like who are you?
Yeah.
That's not Ahmed. But of course, they have Padme asks for 2 Jedi to be sent to help out with this case on Naboo, and would you guess that it's Anakin and Obi-Wan helping them out?
Shocker.
But I did love the line that like
she is.
I did love the line that like relations with the Gungans are tense right now, but Obi-Wan's practically like one of them to the Gungans. So I was like, I like that reasoning. But then of course it's like Anakin because Anakin. They gotta see each other.
I feel like there's kind of like I love how tactful Padme is though in like getting the 2 of them there because it's a way of spending more time with Anakin for one thing, but like she's way more tactful about it, and she's very much like kind of constructed
she's not
a
an
reason
idiot.
for Anakin to be there.
Mhm.
Yeah, whereas Anakin would just be like I feel like Anakin if he tried to be assigned to like protect Padme, he's just like
he would almost give up the secret like 50 times.
Yeah.
Heck, he's probably
And then
almost
because that's my friend.
Yeah.
No, and then
he's
Obi-Wan
about
would just like step in and cover for him.
He's less subtle in these episodes about the whole thing than he was in the Malevolence arc, which I didn't think was possible. But there are points where it's like, "Where's Padme?" I mean, Senator Amidala. Like, and it happens like 4 times in this episode.
And Obi-Wan just
literally
like
has to look at him like.
Then there's one point in the second episode where Padme is like, "All right, Anakin, like when she thinks she's saying goodbye, and Obi-Wan's literally right there. He's like, you what now? Like, what's going on here?"
Hey,
like,
you're lucky the hologram cut out.
Yeah, exactly. But when they go to the swamp, we get introduced to a character that Conor loves. Take it away, sir.
Peppy Bow. Just absolute queen. She is the MVP of this entire episode. We will get into that, but just like we first see her, she's about to take a drink she's about to take a bit of the lake water, and it turns out it's poisoned with I can't say it in the accent. I'm gonna Andrew say it. With that,
poodoo. Just
This is muy bad.
So yeah, no, she's really cool. I always really liked her ever since. There was a certain rewatch where like her character really clicked for me, but I can't remember exactly when. Probably was back in like 2017, 2018 or something. So.
Yeah, like
she has
really
such a
cool
cool
design though, doesn't she?
Yeah.
Like the hat and like she's got the Gungan ears like sort of tied together like a cool little ponytail, and she's got a like sick fighting staff. She's just really cool, and she also is like she sort of is a little clumsy like when she's like balancing on the camera, but she's a lot more capable than
the balancing on the scope was phenomenal.
Yeah,
like Jar Jar could never.
Yeah,
Jar
I
Jar
love,
would,
that.
like,
I
eat
love
his
Jar
ass.
Jar, but he could never.
Oh no, yeah, he'd be on his ass within seconds, whereas like Peppy is able to like she's got a much better sense of balance than Jar Jar.
And just
and
immediately
she also
we
kicks...
see her. Yeah, we see
Peppy's
her
just built different.
just immediately kicking the shit out of Jar Jar and Padme because she
Yes.
thinks that they're gonna harm the creatures.
I want to be the main Gungan.
Mm-hmm.
She's also voiced actually by
her voice is great.
Gwendolyn Yo voices her. I believe that's the actress's name, and she also voices Nala Se in both this and the Bad Batch. So she's still voicing Nala Se in the Bad Batch.
That's cool.
So like, you know, if they have her around for Bad Batch, you know, just saying. Maybe
She's
let's
done a couple of voices in the Clone Wars. I don't remember
maybe
what character
get
it
another
was.
Peppy Bow appearance in season 2. That would be kind of
I would
dope.
not mind that. I would not mind that.
I wouldn't mind it
Yeah.
at all. But we get introduced to something in this scene, which is just we get introduced to something I like to call hazmat Jar Jar, and like Padme in the suit, like it's fine. Jar Jar, his eyes are all like squished, and well, if you're watching on video,
Oh,
what
to send that?
what is that?
That is nightmare fuel.
That is my new
That's what
profile
that
pic on
is.
Twitter.
What?
For sure.
That should God. That needs to be your. Wait, did you say your new profile?
Oh,
pic?
it is. It is
Oh,
absolutely. my new
yes.
profile
Oh,
pic.
on.
That is
David
just
Tennant is
something
now
else.
taking a side.
David
a side
Tennant
seat.
is being
Cursed
pushed
Jar,
aside for
cursed Jar,
hazmat.
cursed Biggs.
Jar Jar.
Yeah,
He just looks
hazmat
like
Binks.
he looks. That actually looks like the Darth Jar Jar thing come to life. It's so evil.
It's
Y'all remember
It's
the
so stupid.
robot
Not
chicken evil Jar Jar laugh? Just play that over that image.
Misa gonna have some fun with Yosa.
Oh, no, I don't like this. It's just
So anyway, Peppy Bow beats the crap out
Yeah.
of Jar Jar.
and then they're like, "No, we're here to help," and she's like, "Oh, okay, cool, I'll help."
Jar
I-
Jar's like, "What you doing?"
Like, oh, the virus is in the water, and they're like, "Oh, okay." So then they find the lab like pretty quickly, but they are immediately captured by droids. And like I said, we get Padme's vest fit, which again, 3 outfit changes in about 6 minutes, and they're all immaculate. But we get introduced to Dr. Nuvo Vindi, who is, as I call him in my notes, the most beautifully over-the-top Star Wars villain maybe of all time.
The man's a German scientist.
Yeah.
Yep.
Or
It's
World War II
played
German
up
scientist.
to 11, just straight up Nazi scientist
Yeah.
who like wants to fuck the blue shadow virus in many ways. It's like, I want the virus to penetrate me. Like,
virus!
it's like the man is
Oh,
obsessed.
virus! What you doing to me?
I'm not even gonna try.
No.
Yeah, Connor,
it's-
do it.
No.
Do it.
It's even
No.
better that it's like Michael York doing the voice, which is just such a cool like it's such. I feel like season 1 in particular has that thing of like bringing in. Well, I think the Clone Wars as a whole like did a really good job of bringing in all these other like sci-fi legends who were adjacent to Star Wars, who were like in other sci-fi projects, and so like having him here, like when he did Logan's Run, and he's Basil Exposition in like the Austin Powers films. He brings so much to that. Like he just commits to like the over-the-top nature of this character, and it's brilliant.
Yeah, no, it's I love him so much. But we get introduced to the blue shadow virus, and like we get some background on this, like that it was wiped away generations ago because it was such a deadly plague. It was originally like a virus that could only exist in water, which is how they poisoned the Gungans. But he's created an airborne version of this, and like I said, oh no, this is a bit familiar. An airborne virus that causes you to cough and causes a deadly worldwide pandemic. I don't know what that is. That's I've never done.
Never heard of one of those before.
That's not happened.
That's really sci-fi. I couldn't imagine that ever happening.
Star Wars. Well, I can't even do the political thing because this happened before. But I mean, plagues have existed for a very long time. But like Star Wars actually created disease and pandemics. This is a unique concept specific to a galaxy far, far away. But we do get the Jedi arriving after they are kidnapped, after Jar Jar and Padme are kidnapped by Dr. Vindi. And again, Anakin just not hiding it at all. Like they show up. Where's Padme?
Where's Padme?
Where's the Jedi?
Where's Padme?
It's just,
Where is he?
just immediately. Obi-Wan's just like, what the fuck? Like, and they get the background on the virus again, and then we are told of Dr. Vindi's plans to put the virus in these bombs, and he's going to start a galactic plague. They say put one in each major star system.
U
it's
is for
gonna explode.
uranium bombs.
And is for no survivors.
Oh, those aren't pies. They were made in a factory, a bomb factory.
Yeah.
They're bombs. That's this episode.
You had to kill him. The boy cries you a sweater of tears, and you kill him. How you gonna live with yourself?
Dude, get Clancy Brown to voice Dr. Vindi. Like, that's what we need. He voices about 8 other characters in the show. Like, just bring him in here to do it.
Like, I'm going to destroy all of Naboo for money.
62 cents. That's the I can't even do the multiple yes. Just that's the crap version of the multiple yes for Vindi.
Yeah, totally.
No, like this, his introductory scene, beautiful. It's like we talk about how like, oh yeah, the Separatists might be considered the good guy if they didn't have the most like horrifically evil people like as the villains here.
Yeah,
mustache
like,
twirly villains.
He's so evil that he just like even Jar Jar is just like isn't.
It's
like,
almost parody.
Jar Jar is
like
Jar
Oh
Jar
yeah,
is
they basically did those shots like the massive like shadowy like close-ups of his faces, like the lightning crackling in the background, like the typical mad scientist shit.
He's such a Nazi. Like literally the way he is shot, the lighting. You know, even though he's like an alien, like the alien species is literally called forced. Like.
He literally looks like they designed him. It's like, just imagine a Nazi, but as an alien.
It's like, you know, let's make people think of like Nazi wacko scientists. You know,
so like let's just real quickly, like we've gone through season 1. Let's just remind you of some of the villains we've had so far this season. We've had a villain literally named General Loathsome. We've had a Nemoidian voiced by George Takei, who was threatening to carpet bomb all these lemur people.
Help! I'll be defoliated.
We had the literal like fascist from the Order Plutoni episodes that we covered last time. I forgot his name, but like literally like
the
super duper racist.
Racism
episode. Literally using the word savages and shit. And now we have a literal Nazi scientist. So George is really coming in clutch with these villains here of making them like, how can we make these just like the most evil people ever? Yeah. I got it. There we go. But one thing I didn't really like was the way that they not only like infiltrated the lab, but like all the fight scenes like throughout, like in the corridors and stuff. I just thought
the camera work was so cool. It was all awesome. The tracking shots, like going down when they jumped in, or when the destroyers were rolling through the hallway, how they were like going up the walls and shit. Yeah. Those were sick.
They really make it into a
cool
good job.
Zooming shot. With the bombs as well, like when it just zooms as they all activate. It's just really cool.
They really do a cool job at like making this lab just seem as like huge as they made it out to be in the briefing with Typho. Like it just like there's so many rooms, so many like different hallways and stuff. And even in the second episode, when they're just like every time you think they've gotten rid of all the droids, more and more keep showing up. So they just make it just seem like hugely immersed, which I loved. Anakin finds Padme pretty quickly, but he's given the ultimatum by Vindi of save your friends or capture me, and he of course saves Padme. Vindi escapes, and then Anakin just like takes out about 18 fucking droids like at once. It was pretty freaking sweet.
You know what really helped there, Anakin? Force slow.
Yeah.
Or just using the Force in general. He could have just turned the lever off onto the lever. Knocked his ass out, and then
like
yanked
Padme
his ass
even has,
right back and left.
He's got to turn
Padme
into
even
Wolverine
has to point that out. Like,
he's like, Anakin.
She even has to say, like, could you maybe just, maybe rescue me before you kill the battle droids.
It was a great line. But maybe my favorite scene of the entire episode is Ahsoka struggling with the droids, and then Obi-Wan just crashes through the ceiling, destroys the droidicas. Looks like you needed help. Like I just loved it. It was
like a badass.
It was such an Obi-Wan moment of just
he does a She-Hulk. He just like crushes in through the ceiling. Yeah,
great way of introducing Obi-Wan there. I really loved it. And then there was another great moment later where like Anakin and Ahsoka are talking on the comms, and then they just meet like Master. Yeah. Like, is that you? Like, just meet. You never see that, which I really loved. But again, I have so many, like, my notes here are just, the lab corridor battle was awesome. Obi-Wan crashing through the ceiling was awesome. Anakin going berserk was awesome. And then I got to bring up another great design that I loved, which is the Bomb Squad clones.
Yes.
Oh, they're so cool.
Yep.
Oh, I have
There's
so
no
many of those
absolute
minifigures
chance.
too from the battle packs with them from
They
like
have?
2009.
I didn't even know those were a thing. I'm gonna
They
Yeah, I
had
think
have
I've
Bomb
got those
Squad
as well.
battle packs. I had like 3 of them as a kid because I think one Christmas or my birthday or something, like 3 different family members all got them for me, and it's just
Nice.
all of those clones. They're so sick.
They are
sick.
really cool.
And
they are.
they come in clutch as well. They actually like diffuse all the bombs. Like
Mhm.
they
Yeah.
actually save the day as well as Peppy.
Yeah, I really liked it there. And then we got another great classic Obi-Wan Anakin banter. It's like, Anakin, I'm guessing you didn't capture the doctor. I'm working on it. It's like, do you have the bombs? I'm working on it. Like, it's just beautiful. Like, their banter is amazing. But they get to the point where they're missing one bomb and they have to find it. And it's the stupid little pissant droid from Book of Boba Fett. I forgot what they're called.
I love
yeah,
those
I ca-
droids, but why do they all have to be little snarky assholes?
Yeah,
Yeah, like
exactly.
I'm with Vic on this
doing the
one.
little jump
I'm the
scare.
exact same
Yeah.
way. I love
Yeah,
their design. I love their design,
Yeah.
but like, why? Why can't one be like decent for once?
right.
They're
Just be
all
nice.
just assholes.
I mean, the one in Book of Boba Fett was all right. He was just a scared little boy. He wanted to get away from Boba, and
That's
then like
true.
he
The
like
fact that
cried
the
and
thing
shut.
I love in that episode, the thing I love in that little scene the most in Book of Boba is when he just goes, "I am Boba Fett," and then the droid just is like, "All right," shuts down. This is the greatest thing ever. It's such a mood.
Yeah,
Quick
this
little
this
bugger.
one isn't scared. This one just wants to start a pandemic. So
Yeah, the
this
little
one-
bastard.
this little bastard.
Yeah,
It-
it just takes the vial out as well. Like
Yeah,
it's,
exactly.
You think they've got the bomb, and then you realize, oh no, yeah, he took the vial out. And
No,
I'll say
yeah.
this for Vindi, he does come prepared. Like he actually, I thought it was almost kind of funny that he just has all these vials that he's just like throwing at like the Jedi to like stop them.
Yeah,
I
and
remember
then
like
they-
really hating him as a kid because I was like, God damn it, someone's gonna get this bastard because he's just, he's just obsessed with causing a plague, and he hurt Jar Jar and Padme, so he needs to pay.
Yeah, no, I probably should hate him, but he's so campy
Exactly.
that I just adore him.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's just I think it's got to be the accent, but then just certain lines he has are beautiful. So they have to find this last droid. Padme and Jar Jar eventually find him in like the room with all the plants in it. He's just hiding under the hiding under the table. Jar Jar catches him, and then they get the bomb squad droids clones down there, and they think they saved the day, but that droid had other plans. Bastard, freaking. You did this little droid thing. You did this. This is your fault. You almost killed Naboo. But we do have like the most like over the top villain speech ever. Like when Vindy's trying to escape. Actually, before we get to that, we like you said, we have Vindy like throwing the vials at them as they try to escape because they like break down the door. And you just have that great moment where Obi-Wan just jumps, catches 2 of them. And I guess you could say that was
another happy landing.
Nice.
much, yeah. Because he falls down and just like does like a little Obi-Wan pose. He's always the drama is Obi-Wan Kenobi, and I'm a big fan of that. But they eventually like get to the point where they're going up against him, and they're like, "Oh, make sure you don't shoot him because he's got vials, and if any of that virus gets out, you're all fucked." He's like, "Yes, the bombs are going off, and we're all going to die." Yeah.
Come on, kill me! I'm here. Do it now.
No.
It's always that great, like, satisfying moment of like when they press the detonator and nothing happens.
Yeah, and his like stupid
Oops.
face is just like, oops, what happened?
It's like, what a great way to end. Oops, and then that's it. And you're like, all right, so he's arrested, and the episode ends on a pretty happy note. It's like, yeah, Naboo is saved.
Peppy Bow like kicks the crap out of him.
That's very true.
Before that, so like,
It's very true. Peppy
Freaking
Bow
tases him as well.
Yeah.
coming in
Yeah.
clutch.
this woman just fucking just destroys this man. Absolutely, just KOs him.
Do you think she like maybe wound up on Jakku sometime and like taught Rey some of those like staff moves?
I'm here for it. Fuck it. I'll
Yeah.
write an SWEF story.
Yeah,
Peppy Bow
SWEF.
meets Ray. Fuck it. Jake, let's co-write it.
All right. We just have to add one of the Jar Jar lines. This a son doing murder to Misa skin.
Yes.
Yeah,
sounds great.
Yes, we need to do
We
that.
got to pitch it to Austin first, actually.
It's like, blue shadow virus? It's like, yeah,
Ray's
sure.
like, the fucking what? She's like,
The what?
Never mind.
Never mind.
Never
I'm gonna write.
Never mind, you sweet child.
But like, it ends on like an optimistic note. Like they think Naboo is saved. Vindy's arrested. It's like, oh, great.
Nope.
Great job. Nope.
We get to the next episode.
They don't even
Mystery
end
of
like on a
1,000
cliffhanger.
men.
They just make it seem like, oh yeah, we're good.
It just ends. Yeah.
Yeah, it just ends.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, this is a short arc. And then next
If it was
episode, everything
later
goes
on,
to shit.
Yeah, if it was later on, they would have absolutely ended it on a cliffhanger. Because I feel like with season 1, there was more of a like they really were committing to like every episode being standalone. Like even with the Ryloth arc, which is the most like serialized I think season 1 gets, like it's still each episode is like a standalone story. And you'd almost like if you skipped next week's episode, you just assumed this was how the story is.
Yeah. Or like if you missed this episode and you just started with Mystery of 1,000 Moons, they just wrap it up where it's like, oh yeah, Born Day is saving the universe. Like, what did I miss? Like, what has happened here? But I loved this episode. I think I loved Vindy. I thought the tension was actually built very well throughout the episode. Even though you like kind of knew that everyone was going to make it out alive, you were like, oh, what's going to happen here? Because the threat of a global pandemic kind of scary now. But I did say it's great to rewatch. Even like it hits real different now in the post-pandemic world that we're in right now. But it's one of my favorites.
Different.
Yeah,
but that's a story for another time.
Yeah, but that's it's one of my favorites of the first season, I'll say, just in terms of rewatchability and like fun. The battle in the lab is awesome. Peppy Bow is Peppy Bow. Vindy is Vindy. It's got a lot of great moments that like I go back to, even if a lot of my favorite episodes are in the later seasons. This is always one that I think was just a really fun watch.
I'm stupid nostalgic for it.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Yeah,
like it's literally just called the like blue shadow virus. You're just like, what is this? And then you tune in and you're like, this is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
But we're not
like there's definitely a lot of Clone Wars episodes I've completely forgot existed, even though I've watched the show through in its entirety like 6 times. I've never forgotten about this one. Like,
no,
it's always one that I think about when I think of like early Clone Wars.
Yeah, same. Absolutely. Like it's always kind of like it's always one of those episodes that sort of lives in my head rent free. I think just because of not just because of how memorable the characters are, but it's also got some really good action as well, and the design of like Vindy's lab as well, like with those cool, like
such a cool
the way
lab.
those corridors with the lights. It kind of reminds me of that little corridor look.
It's too sanitary.
Well, he's like I actually buy that it would be that sanitary with the look of
Same
Vindy.
here.
He's like a germ. That man is a germaphobe. He's a germaphobe, but he also loves viruses. I get.
He's a German germaphobe.
Yeah,
yeah. He wants
exactly.
He wants the virus. He craves being killed by this virus. It's so weird. But
wants the virus to kill me.
It's so weird, but beautiful at the same time.
Yeah.
There
is kind of like a shadow of a motivation for him there, like where he says, like it's obviously tenuous. This man is clearly like wacko, but he has that line about like how all these so-called superior life forms are like spreading their disease of war throughout the galaxy, and it kind of shows like it raises the question of like whether or not war has broken this man, or like if he was always just like a whack job. And
I don't know, because like it's weird to tell because they like give him like a backstory of like how he disappeared and was like a separate
10 years ago, which lines up with Phantom Menace.
Yeah, and then he has his, like you said, the line about war, and there are points where it's like, no, you murdered the virus. I'm bringing it life. So it's like he's in love with this virus and these diseases. So it's like a really warped character motivation.
Yeah.
But I think it works. There are points, though, that Jake brought up, like there are certain episodes where you just forgot existed. There are points in the episode coming up where, like, no matter how many times I rewatch it, I'm like, wait, I don't remember this happening at all. And it happens every single time. It happened again in this episode where I'm like, oh yeah, the Diego stuff is in this episode.
The moons of I totally forgot it was the moons of Diego from Phantom Menace.
Yeah.
And I didn't remember it until the fucking angel showed up. And I was like, oh,
that was the one thing I remembered, but like I kind of forgot about the angel like showing up. I was like, oh shit.
I need to
This is sick. No wonder Anakin was down bad for them.
Yeah. When we talk about that scene, I have something to say about it because yeah. Mystery of 1,000 Moons, though, to get into that one, is directed by Jesse Ye. It's written by Brian Larson, and our moral
Mystery of the 1,000 Moons. I thought we just got Mandela. I got Mandela effect.
Is it the? Because I wrote
It's the. It's in the episode title. It's Mystery of the 1,000 Moons.
See, Wikipedia says A, so I'm like, what is
on
going
Disney
on
Plus
here?
in the episode?
Disney Plus right now.
The.
It's just
Mystery of the 1,000 Moons.
all right. So is Disney Plus lying or is Wikipedia lying?
Yeah, Wikipedia's lying.
I guess we'll never know.
Probably Wikipedia.
The moral is a single chance is a galaxy of hope. Very, very pulpy, very George Lucas-y, but I like it. So we start off. Vindi is being transported to stand trial. They make it okay. So I was confused by this, and I think it might have just been a script issue because at the beginning they say they're transferring him to the Republic capital. So I think Coruscant, but they just transfer him to Theed. So it's like, do they mean Naboo's capital or do they mean?
I assume they just meant the capital, but
I presume it was Theed, but maybe there was like a script issue and they put Republic instead of Naboo or like the planet's capital.
I mean, to be fair, that happens a lot in these like earlier seasons of the Clone Wars. Is like we'll meet a character and get their explanation, and then like 5 minutes later they'll re-explain the exact same thing with the same characters. They even do it in season 7 of Clone Wars, where like Cody explains to Rex the whole Clone Force 99. He's like, 99. And then like 5 minutes later, he's like, 99. Nice touch. It's like, yeah, you already said that.
He's got to say it again, you know?
Emphasis.
It's like saying 99.
Yeah.
Just because of that, I want them to do that the next time Rex shows up in the Bad Batch. Like, I just realized 99. Nice touch. It's like, Rex, this is like the 4th time you worked with them.
You can't keep getting away with this.
Rex is just like, you guys remember the ARC Troopers arc?
Yeah. Rex's short-term memory loss, like, wait a minute. 99. Oh my God. God, do you know about that?
You mean like the old guy?
Nice touch. Like, I just... Rex forgot to take his meds again, guys.
Oh God,
this PTSD is getting the best of him.
This is actually the whole premise of the Ahsoka show: is Rex is just going like full blown dementia on us. And
no, Ahsoka, do you remember Clone Force 99? I just remembered.
Yes,
something.
Rex. I remember Clone Force 99.
Sure, Rex. Let's get you to bed.
Nice touch.
That would be devastating.
His last words. He like dies like Professor X and Logan. He's like, 99. Nice.
Oh yeah, and like Ahsoka like just like steps into the room and just like stabs him. Like,
oh no, Thrawn is cloned Ahsoka. No.
I could see them doing that.
Oh no, the fact that I actually think that might be possible.
Well, yeah, like basically it's just it's Ahsoka, but like she looks like when she was possessed by the sun in the Mortis arc, so she's all like.
That was such a cool design.
That was
such a sick design.
Hey, she kind of looks like that in this episode.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you know what's sick is
that is
being
true.
infected.
That is true. I did not put 2 and 2 together.
But we do.
I want to know why the little animals just fucking died the second they touched the water in the first episode, and then in this episode, they're just walking around in the blue shadow virus for like 4 hours. They're like, my lungs hurt a little bit.
I suppose maybe crap. I don't know.
It's because like I don't know, like I could rationalize it away as maybe because it's airborne. It's like it's
slower infection.
Yeah,
it's been what's the word?
I think because it was originally like through water that like once they drank it, it was like dead. But like because even though like Nuvo Vindi, whatever, that fucking guy, he like perfected the airborne strain. It's bullshit.
Yeah.
I mean, he's
didn't.
nuts. Like he doesn't, he probably thought he'd perfected it, and it was just
he spent too much time taking it out
on.
on romantic dinners. He didn't actually make it any better.
He loves the Blue Shadow virus.
Oh, Blue Shadow
How was your
virus.
day?
God. But we start the episode off with just a great Obi-Wan line, which I mentioned earlier. It was, oh well, just another boring day saving the universe. I'm like, yeah, it
Classic
starts in a
Obi-Wan.
way where if you did not know that the last episode happened, or if you missed a week, you'd be like, what the fuck did I miss? Like they just end like, oh yeah, we just wrapped things up. It's over, guys. Like, did I start the episode at the end of the episode? Like, is there something wrong with my DVR? It's like I would have been very confused there. But right when we think things are better, we realize that one of the bombs in the chamber, the vial in the bomb has gone missing. And it's like, oh, the tension's starting up again. Which, again, this episode with the Naboo stuff does a really good job, like with last episode, of keeping that tension going. And then we find out that it's that little shit again. The freaking droid stole the vial, sets it off, just completely just takes out those 2 clones. R.I.P.
The man that droid is an agent of chaos, and I can kind of applaud it for that, but not really, because pandemic.
Yeah.
Those
Yeah,
two,
I almost just said a
clones
Convergence spoiler.
oh
yeah,
no.
He heard those 2 clones
I
saying,
can't wait to get to that in like 4 months.
I'd rather not be there when the bomb goes off. And he was like, I'm going to bomb these 2 clones because I'm just like a sick little shit.
That reminds me so much of the season 2 episode where it's like, thank God those bugs have bad aim, and then the clones immediately get hit. I think it's maybe the funniest scene in the entire show. I can't wait till we get to the Geonos arc. Just again, that arc is fantastic.
Landon
too,
at
but
Point Rain
Point
is
Rain.
just one of the best single episodes of Clone Wars ever.
it's so good.
Incredible.
That whole arc,
Absolutely.
I think, is absolutely fantastic.
That was what I always wanted to see in Star Wars as a kid, because like I was big. I'm still pretty big into like military history, but like growing up, I was huge into it, and so like seeing I hope I can find like the Cartoon Network promo that they aired for it in the lead up to the episode, because there was this like certain promo that they put on TV that like really got me fucking hyped for that episode, and I was like, fuck yeah, war in Star Wars, baby.
If you find it, we'll have to put it in the episode when we do that arc. I'm also
It's
like
out there somewhere.
the fact that arc is like 5 episodes long, like that is going to be like a 2.5 hour episode when we get to it. But it's again, season.
We're good
2.
at those.
Well, yeah, we're almost there. Okay, then we're good at those. Yeah, so it's going to be about 5 hours long. But we're almost there, guys. We got 1 arc left after this. But the virus leaks into the lab because of the bomb. They have to do everything they can from stopping it from leaking out there, because if a droid escapes the lab with the virus on all over the droid, they're fucked, and all Naboo is gonna be infected. Anakin just immediately drawing his lightsaber on Vindi and like, where's the antidote? And just a great line of, my job was to manufacture a plague and not to cure it. I'm like,
He just goes like full Bale Batman. He's like, where's the cure? Where is it?
And then of course Imperial March starts playing.
Yeah.
I didn't even pick that up actually. Yeah, that's insane. I thought they waited until season 2 for that.
I think this was actually the first time that they do it.
It might have been. Yeah,
I can't think of any other earlier episodes where they do it.
The first time I remember it showing up was Voyage of Temptation, when he takes out the sender.
That's another one I'm so excited.
Which again is top 3 Clone Wars of all time for me. It's so good. Yeah.
I love that episode.
I think that's maybe the most rewatchable episode of the whole show. But again, we'll get to that when we get there. But again, like this is where I wrote the sexual tension between Dr. Vindi and the virus, because he literally has that line of like, I cannot wait for the virus to penetrate my lungs and my body. And I'm like, this man is on something, and I don't know what it is, but he's obsessed.
He's on the Blue Shadow virus. The Blue Shadow virus.
Maybe.
Blue Shadow virus.
I will give George and Dave credit here, because it probably took like every fiber in their being to not make Dr. Vindi blue. Like, I think we should make him blue. It's like, no, stop. But Blue Shadow virus, like, blue. And it's like,
It's like poetry and rhyme.
Yeah, it's like like the
Stop it,
blue shadow virus. Like,
George, stop it! It'd be too much. He's got to be gray. And it goes along with the whole Nazi scientist vibe.
I don't really know. I think it would be kind of funny if he was blue.
George, I really respect that, but I think it'll be too much.
This cod piece, it's a little unfortunate. I'm just
Unfortunate appendage there.
thinking about that again. It's one of my new favorite. I'm so mad that I didn't know about that until last year because it's one of my new favorite clips. I'm shocked you didn't be like, just enhance that a little bit, just make it bigger. Because George is
the
just
B2s.
he's just that. Like there's no subtlety with George, and I love him so much for that.
Give it some balls.
Oh no, and then it's going to be Transformers Revenge of the Fallen. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants Revenge of the Fallen stuff in Star Wars.
I'm underneath the enemy scrotum. It's like, all right, thanks, Cody. Thanks for that. But again, I wanted to bring this up, but I totally forgot. Was it weird for any of you guys going back to like regular Clone Wars after watching the Solitary Clone and just seeing like the weird version or like the Imperial version of a Clone Wars battle?
It kind of was.
Nope.
But like,
yeah, kind of was.
Because I didn't think about it till now. Because I mentioned with Conor, I was like, it's going to be so weird going back and rewatching Clone Wars season 1 after
I thought it would be, but
from a
it
different
wasn't.
perspective.
it was less the
was
writing for me and more like the kind of visuals of it. Like obviously, like earlier seasons of the Clone Wars are a lot more campy, a lot more kiddish. Like they're goofier. But then like later seasons, like seasons 5, 6, and 7, those are all like hardcore crazy shit.
Yeah.
And why we have all the crazy kids on the internet. Like Clone Wars isn't for kids. Like yes, the fuck it still is. But it is more mature, and like Solitary Clone was definitely that kind of more mature, and this was very much like silly, goofy, haha.
Yeah,
it's a show for 12-year-olds.
I feel like we like started with the wrong episode because we had to do it like with the most comedic, like campy, over the top villain possible. Or if it was just like a regular like Clones versus Droids episode that we were getting back to, maybe it would be a bit different. But because we're going up against Dr. Vindi, it's a bit different there. But what do you know? Some of the virus leaked into the safe room. So the clones, Rex, Ahsoka, they're all infected. Just right on point. Padme's like, are you guys safe? And you just hear the one clone go like like right on cue, most like light coughs ever. It's like,
see, if these episodes were made after COVID, it would have been like the early COVID days, and Rex would have just been like,
yeah, it's like, no, get away.
Yeah, so Rex is just like
toilet paper.
Get a mask on.
Yeah. We just one of the clones I heard that if you inject yourself with bleach, it'll get rid of the blue
take the
shadow
horse medicine, you'll be better. I learned that on a podcast.
Just use a hair dryer. Use a hair dryer. That'll do it.
If you dunk your balls in orange juice. Don't get the vaccine. Drink the horse medicine.
You would have the one clone that's like, I don't want the antidote. I don't want it.
I don't believe in that shit. Give me the horse medicine.
Space Jordan Peterson told me to.
The fucking podcast said, don't get the vaccine. They're gonna put a chip in your mind. A chip in your mind? That's a good idea. Shit.
We know. Oh
there's like 3 clips from this episode that just need to.
Oh no! It was Elon's fault all along.
Oh no!
Elon gave Palpatine the idea. They get the blue shadow virus vaccine, and a chip is inserted, and that's why Palpatine is like, "Quick, get on that,
yeah.
go!"
He's like,
"Oh my goodness,
I like that."
To go a little bit more serious for a minute, though, like I really like this episode as a character moment for Ahsoka because, like, like Ahsoka from like pretty much like 5 minutes in, she's infected with this deadly plague, and there's a very big chance in her mind that she's going to die, and she doesn't hesitate to like go and get rid of the rest of the droids. You know, even when she's she can barely stand. She's like coughing and everything. She's like still like fighting. And you know, because Ahsoka obviously was getting a lot of crap back during season 1, and this for me was just like a great showcase of actually her character is like she's not just all like quips, cutesy quips, and like cliches that people were trying to put on her. She's actually this really spirited character, and it was just, and I was really invested back then because it's like we didn't know what was going to happen to Ahsoka, and we've said this before, but like the stakes. And that's why they focus in on Ahsoka being the one who suffers most of all from the virus, because, like, Padme is going to be fine. Jar Jar is going to be fine, but you don't know about Ahsoka.
Yeah. No,
and that's where the tension comes from.
I put in my notes, I'm like, I wonder when people were watching this episode when it first came out, like if they thought like this was it for.
Well,
like,
that was
Ahsoka
the thing that
Rex.
they did constantly in the show was like basically baiting, like, oh, is Ahsoka gonna die? Is she not? And I do feel like that this is probably the first time that they did it, and it wasn't so much like a promo thing. I was like 8 when this episode aired, I think, and I was like paying attention to the promos and shit because Clone Wars was my life. But like, I don't really remember doing the whole like, will Ahsoka survive? Will she die? But like, I feel like in like the narrative, at least, this is the first time where you're kind of like questioning whether she's gonna make it out.
I remember they really did that a lot during the Trandoshan Hunt episodes. That was like when they really, the first time I wasn't even watching at that point because I had stopped following it like after season 1 or season 2. But I remember seeing those trailers and I was like, they're really pushing this. And then Chewie shows up again. I'm like, what is going on? And then like, I was like, should I watch this? And I'm like,
I remember like the season 5 finale graphic where they just showed a bunch of characters and it's like, who will survive? And it was like Ahsoka, Ventress, Savage, Maul. Like all of those guys.
Yeah. And then all of them except Savage make it out. Oops, spoiler. Sorry. But yeah, so they're infected. Typho is talking with Obi-Wan and Anakin, and they're like, oh yeah, so we found this cure with this root on Iago. And again, it took me like every time I rewatch this episode, it takes me a minute to be like, oh yeah, the line from the Moons of Iago from Phantom Menace. And like, I'm shocked that they didn't have Anakin immediately go like, I've heard about that planet. I've heard that there's stories about these angel thing. And then Anakin like starts like doing the line. It's like, he's like, Typho, I came up with this line when I was younger. Let me run it by you. And he's like, Typho, are you an angel? And he's like, what the fuck is going on with this kid? And then like, again, like Anakin had more game when he was 9 than he did when he was 19. Make it make sense to me, George.
Yeah, the Jedi school just like drilled that shit right out of him.
Like he goes from that to so are you. Grow more beautiful. I'm like what
you like sand?
Yeah. It's
I don't like sand. See, I'm trying to do an impression of Anakin now, and I just sound like moist critical.
I don't like sand. It's coarse and rough and irritating. And it gets everywhere.
I mean, he sounds more like, I suppose moist critical would sound more like Kylo Ren, really. Like,
hey Ray, you want to join the dark side? It's hey, cool Ray, over here. We get like super buff. We get super buff over here. It's really cool. Not at all cringe.
Got it. But we do get another smooth Anakin moment where he's like, my Padawan is trapped down there, and so is Padme. Awkward silence. Senator Amidala?
Senator Amidala.
Obi-Wan just looks at him. Typho just looks at him. Like, Typho's got to know at this point. Like, I'm pretty sure Typho knows in canon. But I'm not entirely sure. I think Queen's Hope said something about it, but I don't remember. And that was before this episode in the timeline. But like Obi-Wan is like, this man knows, but this man is like holding on for dear life. Like at some point he's got to look over and be like, yo, buddy, like everyone knows at this point. Like you can drop the
act. He's like, did you at least tell Padme I said hello?
I still remember the first time watching that episode and be like, oh my God. Because that was the first time where like they straight up said
obvious
like,
about it, yeah.
He knows. And now in like Brotherhood, like even back at the beginning of like the Clone Wars, Obi-Wan's like, yeah, there's something there. I don't know what it is, but there's something there.
Meanwhile, Anakin is like, who's the senator man that Obi-Wan's banging?
Yep.
It's like the only thing about that book that I know too. I love that.
Yeah, it's a great book. It's a great book. But we get to Iago, and Anakin immediately just does the same thing he did last episode, and just gets out of the ship, just immediately starts taking out all the droids. It's like, oh, congratulations, you just took out 17 harmless battle droids without hitting a scratch. Then one of them falls.
And he's like 18 actually.
18 actually. But I do like the little markings that they put on these battle droids and the vulture droids. Like they look pretty cool.
Welcome to Iago.
Yeah, even though we
Iago
I don't
also
know,
looks
guy.
really cool. Come on, just
It looked
I love the
cool.
graveyard
the
of ships.
design of it.
Yeah.
Graveyard of ships. The city too is really cool. It's like built on the cliffside.
Iago's Iago's such a great planet. I love it.
Although, again, guys, I gotta bring him up. I don't this whole part of the episode. I don't know if it works for me or not. Like it's just because again we get Jabo Hood, who is just again a George Lucas character. Mm-hmm. We just see this kid sitting on the hammock. One of the droids starts playing like Hawaiian music, like over his.
He's got his own. He's got his own lo-fi.
Yeah, I'm like, what is going on here? And it just happens every single time I watch it because it's not like bad per se. But I'm like, I really want to see what's going on in Naboo and all the tension. It's like, we got to stop dead in its tracks because we got to go on this like video game side quest. So we got to go find this route on another planet with this kid.
I like Jabo. I just think it's funny how like they dip and then instantly turn right back around.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
We're running out of time. Oh, we got to go back to the planet though, real quick. We got to just we gotta do that. Like it's just
That
again, like
that. What is it? Droll? Is that the thing that they
Droll, the ghost of Droll.
Yeah,
where it's
and there's that what's his I can't remember the Quarren, the like Quarren guy, but he's got all like floppy tentacles. So he's all like
the one that sounds like the one that sounds like Gandalf.
Yeah, he's like he looks like a sea captain who's like, there's a curse, a ghost. Yeah.
And it's just like the fact that they build this up as like a race against time to like make it back to Naboo, and they just go on like, okay, so first you got to go down to the bottom of the mountain and find the roots. Then we got to get all this backstory on this Droll thing. Then we got to stop the Droll. Then we got to go back. Then we got to go back again. And then we got to go there. I'm like, this is like...
And Droll's actually just like a Death Star prototype.
Yeah, it's like they should be dead by this point.
Literally the super laser as well.
Yeah, it's the super laser, but with all the lasers. But again, Jabo is just... I like his voice. He's a fun character. But again, it's just like... It feels so off-putting every time you cut back from like... Race Against Time with the stuff in the lab and just seeing like the visual of like more and more of the blue smoke like going through the lab is just something I love in this episode. And then it's like, oh, they got to fight these like Venus flytrap things. Yeah,
Dren type beat. I legitimately that's all I could think was the Dren gear.
Sick High Republic reference.
Maybe it was like
Sick High Republic.
That's our headcanon. For the Republic headcanon, that was a strain of Dren gear that Anakin and Obi-Wan fought on Iago.
There we go. But I do love like
sending it to the office. And Michael Seglain and Christina Ariel and some of the story group.
Hey, we could say other headcanon. The last time Blue Shadow Virus existed was during the High Republic, and like Vildar Mac or some shit was the one that got rid of it.
Did you know that the Dren gear were first seen in Star Wars canon in the episode Mystery of the Thousand Moons that aired in season 1?
Yeah, that reminds me of this thing from the High Republic called the Dren gear.
You know, these plant-like creature things, you know, they like to eat meat and like other humans and stuff.
Can you imagine, like, when they were pitching the Dren gear and they're like, wait a minute, remember that one Clone Wars episode from, like, 12 years ago?
The Venus flytraps?
Yeah, let's make them the secondary villain of this whole thing. And they're like, genius. But they're talking about how they can't get off the planet because this ghost, quote-unquote, haunts the planet, destroys all the ships that try to escape, which is when we get that cool graveyard thing. But I also just wanted to point out just that little moment where Anakin is just like turns into a just adorable geek where he's just admiring how Jabo like reprogrammed the droids. He's like, that's impressive. And he's just like, he gets way too excited about it. And you just see like the little boy that like loved to fix things just reappearing for just a brief second. And like you just know, like if he had more time, he'd be like, "No, let's stay here. I got to figure out how this guy does this droid thing. This is gonna."
I hope Anakin went back.
Yeah,
to Diego was like, "All right, J-Bo, how you do this?"
Yeah. Like,
I feel like J-Bo is
right after
J-Bo
the
is
episode
kind of like
ends,
Anakin.
He just comes back and he's like, "All right, tell me."
Yeah, J-Bo's kind of like Anakin if he were like, you know, like in his teens, and he hadn't like. I feel like he's exactly where Anakin would have been if he hadn't have like joined the Jedi and he had managed to earn his freedom anyway. He'd just be chilling like with droids that he'd reprogrammed, probably doing a lot of pod racing as well.
Lo-fi type beat playing while he's taking out all these battle droids. Like Anakin would be the one Jedi to do that. But then we cut back to the lab, and we see all these battle droids. We see droidicas coming in. They're taking them all out, but then Jar Jar hijinks, trademark for the Republic 2023, lead to Padme's suit getting punctured. There's a hole in it because Jar Jar is trying to shoot one of the droids, and he like knocks into Padme, and her suit breaks. So now she's got the blue shadow virus. And then the only one left that doesn't have it is that that thing. It's just and then we just
what
see,
happens
like,
when Ahmed Best doesn't voice Jar Jar.
Yeah, we get this.
Yep.
This is what happens. It's just it's scary looking. But we really start to see at this point that Ahsoka is like really struggling. She like collapses when she's trying to take out one of the droids. It's like, again, that's when I was like, yo, I wonder like how people felt like watching this episode, because I don't know, like if they were trapped down there and they don't find this antidote in time, it's like maybe she doesn't, like maybe she's too sick. But I do feel like that would be like a really weird way of like, but it would be like such a tragic way of like Anakin losing his Padawan, of like she got a deadly disease and he couldn't get back in time. And he was able to save. They were able to save everyone but her. It would be like, again, like, I don't know. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know what the vibe was back in the day with this episode. But they do a really good job at like building up that like this could be it. And like even though we know obviously Padme survives, it's like who knows what happens here. But we do.
Oh yeah, sorry, no, you go. Well, there's one bit where like Rex is like putting the tarp over that like one clone who's died, and there's that, and Padme is like, it's such a waste, and Rex says that line of like, with all due respect, ma'am, this is what these men were like born to do, which is like, it's such a, which shows Rex's state of mind at the time, because this is like Rex pre his encounter with Cutler Quain in season 2. You know, he still very much believes in like serving the Republic faithfully, and you know, not really questioning the clones' purpose and like whether they have anything besides war, you know, for their lives. It's a nice little moment.
I think Rex's character throughout the entire show is so like interesting, because I don't really pick up on it so much as a kid, like just how much he was like that like stone cold hardcore soldier that was like, well, if we die, whatever. And then by the end, he's just so different.
Yeah. God, you brought up the Cutler Quain thing. It's just got me. There are so many bangers in season 2 that we're gonna get to. Like I always like, my mind defaults to it being one of the weaker seasons too. Banger, but like there's some good ass episodes coming, and we're almost there. We have one more arc after this, and then we finally are through season 1.
Knowing us, we'll get to that in like 4 weeks.
4 weeks, yeah. But we cut back to Diego, and they're going down the mountain to get to the roots, going down these vines. And they're like, oh yeah, watch out for the flying creature thing. And they're like, what's a, because I forgot the name of the creature. And then it immediately cuts back into, okay, there we go. It's such a Star Wars thing. We get a Anakin
kind of sucks.
Yeah, with the
I'm watching the game.
I hear it in the background. I keep checking the score, but we get in my opinion, the best
for those curious.
In my opinion, we get the best.
Tyler, this is going to air like a day after the game is over.
I know. I don't care.
Look, you know, they got to know our real-time thoughts. But we get the best Anakin Skywalker quote of all time in this episode when they're going up against the plant, which is, oh, poodoo. I'm like, Anakin.
It's like all the Diego stuff. He's just flashing back to his childhood.
Yeah,
for sure.
We get 2 poodoo drops in this arc. Like this is,
and then we get to see like an angel of Diego, and it's like, whoa.
Well, also, Jar Jar last episode uses bombad as like a derogatory term.
Yeah, it's like, this is bomb bad. I'm like, wait a minute, hold on.
Does it depend on how you say it? Like, oh, this a bomb bad, like that's a good thing. Or like, this a bomb bad, like that's a bad thing.
I don't know. Maybe that was just BJ Hughes improving in the booth, and they just like, oh, let's just keep it. Like, I don't know.
It's fine. Where's Ahmed?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, Ahmed, you back yet? Like, what's going on here? But we get a bad feeling about I have a bad feeling about this from Obi-Wan. We haven't had one in a while. Anakin gets the roots. They escape from the plants. We find out more about Droll. Like we said, it's actually like a prototype like Death Star super weapon. It's got these energy fields, these lasers. And then they realize, they're like, oh, this is what we're going up against. So then we have that moment where we talked about where they leave. Jabba's like, man, they're dead. I liked them. They leave immediately.
While they're on
back.
calm as well.
Exactly.
Yep.
You know, he's like, thanks,
and they're
kid.
like, we need your we need your vulture droids.
Yep. There's also that great line where it's like, oh yeah, this sounds like a load of superstition. It's like, yeah, that's one word to talk about it.
Yeah,
like,
that's one way to put it.
That's a load of shit.
It's like
it's a load.
It's hilarious that they're like
Jedi.
They're Jedi,
shit is
and
canon
they
in Star Wars now too, thanks to Andor. So we can say that that's actually what he was going to say.
Linus Mosk, what a king,
my boy.
How much funnier?
There's pockets out there, sir. Pockets of fermenting.
How much funnier would that scene have been if instead of shit, the man just said poodoo? Like just with the straight.
That's a load of poodoo.
That's a load of poodoo.
God, Tony Gilroy would be like,
we're under
absolutely
siege.
fucking not.
We're under siege. Oh, poodoo, sir.
Sir, we have to go, sir.
But yeah, they find out about the weapon back on Naboo. They are managed to contain it, so everyone on Naboo is safe. But Padme and Ahsoka are just fucked at this point. Like they're dying, they're coughing up, and then we get Anakin, like again, keeping it very hidden, very subtle, very not at all obvious that him and Padme are in a secret marriage when he's just freaking the fuck out. But him and Obi-Wan have a really good combo in this scene, which I love. Like his reaction, like just how vulnerable Anakin is with his emotions at this point. Like it reminded me of a mixture of Attack of the Clones Anakin and like Revenge of the Sith's desire to keep her safe at all costs. Obi-Wan is a great line where he's like, a great leap forward often requires 2 steps back, and then Anakin just immediately quips back with, and sometimes what it requires is the will to jump. So we see the contrasting viewpoints there of like he needs
both not wrong.
Yeah, and like he needs to do everything he can to get back to Naboo. But then again, that's again my problem with this thing. It's like, all right, well, we got to go on a whole nother fucking side quest.
The game just said real quick, little advert.
It's coming up at halftime.
Season 3, trailer coming at halftime. There you go.
All right, well, we got to get this done so we can watch the trailer.
We're 5 minutes into the game.
I'll be live on the Bombad cast. So
yeah,
I'll be live tweeting it. So don't forget to follow me there because I'm miserable.
But then we go back to the meeting and we get the aforementioned angel scene.
Yes.
A couple things from this scene, which I want to point out, like what I love about it and what it's just, it comes out of absolutely fucking nowhere. So they're like, yeah, so who lived here before? And they're like, the angels. Angel comes in the room. It's voiced by Kat Taber. So like the fact that it's got Padme's voice is a great
that was so
there.
on the nose.
Great touch there. Yeah. So on the nose.
Oh wow, I actually didn't know that.
Comes in,
That's insane.
Says the thing, leaves.
Star Wars isn't subtle, man.
Yeah, leaves. Never brought up again. I'm like, this is the most like the angels, because we have that line in the Phantom Menace. Let's say one line, leave. That's it. I'm like, and I think that's all we get from them in the entire show. So it's like, oh, we got to fill the quota here. But the design,
for some reason,
really
I
cool.
do think that there's like multiple models of the angels made for the Clone Wars. I think I remember like when I was watching the episode, I looked it up, and there's like 3 different costume models that there are.
I think
or 2
I
or something.
I remember that. Yeah, like from the behind the scenes thing. I think Killian Plunkett talked about it. I'm gonna have to like look that up afterwards.
Yeah, so I think they were gonna do more with them, but then they just probably cut it because they spent so much time going there and then to the vines and then back to space and then back from space and then back into space again.
I think as much as I like Mystery of a Thousand Moons, I do think Blue Shadow Virus is probably the stronger of the two.
I agree.
Because of like the tension and stuff. Because like the structure of this does sort of mean that the tension is a little sapped because like
I do think that the Naboo stuff in this was better than most of Blue Shadow Virus, but because of I do like the stuff on Igo,
same.
But
it's such a like contrast in stories and like tone where
and it really does
like I keep
you
saying
do have the whole hyperspace thing as well.
Yeah,
of
you're
like
building up the race against time, but you go on a whole like day-long side quest here, and it's like they should be dead by this point.
Yeah,
but
literally Ahsoka like is like literally passed out, and there's that they haven't even like left the system yet, and there's that whole thing of like it really does kind of like bring home that whole joke that the writers have once said about hyperspace, that it moves at the speed of plot.
Yeah, it moves as long as you need it to.
Missed opportunity though for Anakin to not be like, wait, are you an angel? And then him like. Because he doesn't even blink.
Like,
he's just like, oh yeah, that's normal. Like he doesn't.
He has no time to like focus on that. He's just like
that.
Must save Padme and Ahsoka.
It would have been funny if Anakin was all like, "Are you an angel?" And Obi-Wan, we could have brought that line from 2003 Clone Wars, like, "Whoa, when you travel the world with Qui-Gon Jinn, you tend to learn a few things."
Yep.
Nice.
I like how they like. I just want to be in the writer's room here where they pitch this episode. It's like deadly plague episode, Nazi scientist. We're also going to include the origins to the "Are you an angel?" line from the Phantom Menace in there.
Like, oh, is that going to be a nice throwaway line? Like, no, it's a 15-minute side plot.
15-minute side plot where the angels just show up for like half a second.
3 seconds.
Yep.
George is like, I don't want there to be like religion. I want them to know that like the angels are not religious. They're just another like alien race.
And
they're
it's like
aliens and they're beautiful and they are radiant and white and they live on this moon and the moon has
they're
a
not
Death Star.
Christian. That's the most important thing, that they're not Christian. Star Wars is like, it has its own religion, which is the Force. That path of the open hand is just bullshit. It's just the Force.
Man, fuck the path of the open hand.
Yeah, no, those guys
Fucking
suck.
Bastards.
Yeah, like spoilers for Path of Deceit. The Path of the Open Hand, they kind of suck.
They really suck. And they suck in Convergence. They suck in everything. The Twitter account, Path of the Open Hand, hilarious. But fuck you. We had beef on Twitter the other day. It was very fun beef.
I need to read this.
Yeah, Connor, you're really behind.
I am so behind.
I only just finished Path of Deceit.
I will get to it once I finish Quest for the Hidden City, which hopefully should just take me like 3 days.
Now,
I started Quest for the Hidden City. Like, I started it the other day. I think I read it for like 30 minutes, and I'm already like a third of the way through. So you're fine. It's one of the little kiddie books. It's fine.
I know. Can you say it's way longer than like all the ones from Phase 1 though?
Yeah, but those all took like an hour and a half to read.
Yeah.
They're tiny.
Now, the one thing that I love about this angel scene even more is the fact that it's like the design is so good and so like complicated and probably took so long to design and animate, and it's there for 3 seconds. And especially in like season 1 Clone Wars, where they're like, we don't want to make these models go to waste.
Yeah, they had so many limited assets.
Yeah. It's like, let's just do a 5-second scene with like the most complicated model we've ever had in the show so far. And then that's it. I'm like, okay, cool. Sweet, drugged out moment, but I love it. Again, shout out to the reprogrammed Vulture droids, like the look that they have, like was it the Jared Leto Joker look? I just think they look cool. I love Vulture droids in general, so just seeing them like show up and like be like used for good. And to help destroy this laser, I thought it was really cool. Freeing them of the curse, quote unquote. It's like, you're free to leave Yedu whenever you please.
Yep.
Touchdown Cowboys.
Yeah, and there's that cool effect of like when the droll laser system thing blows up, and it's all like there's all these like crisscrossing explosions.
Yeah, and they just start to disappear in the sky. That was sick.
It looks
the
like
fireworks.
Yeah,
it was such a cool.
Yeah, it did
such
like
a
the
cool
fireworks
visual.
from the special edition scene from Return of the Jedi.
That was definitely an inspiration.
And then we go back to Naboo.
We go back to Naboo,
and everyone's saved. We literally don't even see what happens. We just they're good.
Yeah, it's just they're fine.
Yeah, they're fine.
We don't find out what happened with.
We don't see how how the root plays into it. We're just nope. They're fine. They're good.
They're fine.
Yeah, the root is apparently some strong shit.
Does he show up again?
Who?
Dr. Vindi?
No.
That's it. He doesn't show up at the end.
Him
like,
and
he just
Peppy
gets
Bow.
threatened by Anakin.
They show up in one episode and they're done.
Yeah.
Hey, who knows? He might still be alive. Maybe he'll show up in the Ahsoka show or some shit.
Maybe
Bad Batch.
Yeah, like in
2.
Bad Batch. Yeah, like
Bad
some
Batch
Operation
season 2,
Paperclip.
Yeah,
like,
he'll just do that multiple.
Paperclip
Yes,
shit.
that'll be his character introduction.
Yeah. It's like we find. He's like, I'm gonna do the virus again.
Yeah.
The virus.
And then Rex,
he's like. Nala say hears that they've
nice
Rampart tells Nala say that they've got like another person in to help her with her experiments, and then she just hears a yeah, and then he just walks around the corner.
I just want that to be. I want one of the Bad Batch to like continue this joke. I want one of them randomly to stop dead in like Omega stop dead in her tracks at the end of one of the episodes. Be like, wait a minute, 99. That's a really nice touch.
Hey Hunter, where'd your name come from? Well,
Rex shows up.
Well,
99.
Say that
was spot
nice
on.
touch. It's just, Rex is just like behind a tree, like nice touch, and like goes back and never see him again.
What the fuck?
I did really like Anakin.
Blue Shadow Virus arc,
like,
everybody.
Yeah, good, guys.
I really liked Anakin and Ahsoka's little like interaction at the end. It was really it was kind of sweet.
It was really heartwarming. Yeah. This whole end of the episode I thought was very heartwarming. Like we do I got a joke. Anakin goes off the ship, zooms, just immediately runs to Padme. It's like no subtlety, guys, at all. And it's like not your Padawan. You know, not any of these clones, straight to Padme.
Yeah, and also like
when Padme and Anakin are talking, like, oh, you're Padme, Padawan, Jesus Christ, Padawan did a great job. There's that moment where he's like, oh yeah, that's
my Padawan. I forgot I had one of those.
Oh yeah, those things.
Yeah, and he just like roasts her and says, "Oh, I think I do deserve most of the credit." And she has that lovely line where she's like, "Oh, good thing I know you don't mean everything you say." It's just like,
I loved it.
It's just a sweet moment, and there's also the bit with Jar Jar and
I
Obi-Wan
loved
Rex,
it.
where Obi-Wan's
I heard
like,
you were very brave out there, Jar Jar.
Yeah, apparently the Senator Amidala wants you to be trained with a blaster. And he's like, really? And then Rex is literally just being wheeled by, and he's like,
no,
I am not training him.
99.
It's like Rex is like, I'm almost dead. I don't want to even think about training a Gungan.
Like even like on the verge of death, he's like, absolutely
not doing it.
No,
absolutely sassing Jar Jar.
But I thought it was a great way to wrap it up. Like I said, very heartwarming. And again, I loved the episode. But I do think it was the weaker of the two. But it was still good. Like I said, the Diego thing, I thought it ran into a lot of the side questy, weird George Lucas just adding random shit aspects to it. But all the Naboo stuff I thought was awesome. And like Jake said, it's probably better than the Naboo stuff on the first episode because the tension was so much higher. And again, watching this when it first aired was probably way different than watching it now. But the whole arc, I think, is impacted by COVID because it's just a lot of it is just been there. Know what that's like.
There's a much. It has a much heavier quality now with the advent of COVID for sure. Yeah,
especially when you consider like the first like couple of weeks and months of COVID, where like we were all like really like at our height of it, like no one left their house. Well, I mean, some of the wacko fucking weirdo Republicans did, but not to get political on the podcast. But most
Star
of
Wars
us
is
hate
political.
people.
Well, no, like our prime
Never
minister
political.
over here, like we hadn't locked down, and like the prime minister, like at the time, Boris Johnson was just like, "Oh yes, I think you should still shake hands with people. I was shaking hands with people in the hospital, and people were like, you're not supposed to shake hands. That's like the one thing that like spreads COVID. It's like I wasn't washing my hands. Wash your hands.
Yep.
Yeah.
Fun times.
Yeah, no, those were weird
Sometimes.
times that I don't want
Definitely
to go
not
back
traumatized.
Glad
No.
to have those times
I
sort
was
of
saying,
behind us.
saying earlier,
Yeah.
it's like, can you believe that it's almost 3 years since then? Like,
Yeah. And it's
feels
still
way
hanging there in
longer,
the ether
but,
as
like,
well. It's still there.
Hey,
and
I
it's
got
just-
COVID like a
I
month
got it
ago, and I
a
was
month
sick
ago.
for like 4 fucking days.
Yeah.
it's not. I was sick for 2 weeks. It's not gone, guys. Just because
No,
things
it's
are a
not
little bit
fucking
better
gone.
does not mean it's gone.
Wear your mask, use your hand sanitizer, get your boosters.
Get your boosted. Yeah.
Sage advice.
So yeah, so in terms of favorite episode of these two, like I said, I'm gonna go with Blue Shadow Virus. I think both episodes have their strengths,
Same.
but I think all around that one was the stronger episode. If you mixed both of them together, I think it would have been like maybe the best episode of the whole season. But because there are certain things that I thought worked against both episodes, I'm gonna go with Blue Shadow Virus as the best of the two. How about you guys?
I can't choose.
Yeah. I'm
I
gonna
like
go
them
Blue
both.
Shadow Virus as well.
They both
I like
have cool things.
yeah, I do like them both. I think again, Blue Shadow Virus just inches it out for me just because of like, you know, it has Peppy Bow, it has like, you know, Nuvo Vindi at the height of his campiness, his weirdness.
Beautiful.
And it's just like
I
some
do want to
cool
go with
action.
Thousand Moons just because of like the heightened tension like inside of the lab during that episode. But like
Yeah.
I just think like the stuff on Aego is cool, but like it does drag it a little bit. So I do think
It does a little
Blue
bit,
Shadow
but,
Virus
like,
is better.
Yeah, but like Iago is still a lot of fun, but I absolutely
Oh, the
agree.
design of the planet is really sweet.
Oh, it's fucking gorgeous.
How
And the
much of
battle
it-
droids are
Do
so
you guys
cool.
think do you guys think that was where Obi-Wan and Vader had their duel in Obi-Wan Kenobi? Because it's got a similar design.
It
they
does, but
could
we don't see all
potentially-
the moons and everything on the outside.
See, they could explain that away with like once Droll got destroyed, like basically like star pilots and companies and stuff just went and picked the graveyard clean of all the wreckage.
There's still all
I
the
could
moons
see
there, though, isn't there?
Yeah, that's true.
We do
actually.
see we do see a moon in like the
It's the mystery.
shot.
So like yeah, it's for me. It's the mystery of the Rocky Moon where they dueled. That's
Do you
like.
think
the
we'll ever
mystery I'm
find
looking
out that
for.
answer, or are we gonna have to wait
Probably.
I
until
hope so.
Art of Kenobi? When are we getting that? By the way, like, are they just not?
Hopefully, fucking
Are they
soon.
not
We better
releasing
get
one?
it. Well, they still
Please,
haven't done
more
for Book of Boba Fett, so
Yeah.
probably not.
Yeah.
Like Mando 2 came out like what last year, the art book.
Yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
fingers crossed we get it soon, because
Yeah, I
maybe they
think the
just
art
don't
book
want to
might
do
do
more
it.
than one a year, because we had High Republic last year.
And I don't care.
Yeah.
Lucasfilm needs to get their shit together with that. We need all the supplementary materials
Yeah.
like the encyclopedias and the art of books
Yeah.
and give us the comic adaptations. Like it feels really weird that we're getting the
Yeah.
Mando season 1 comic adaptation now, 3 years
Now.
later.
Yeah,
How have we
And-
not had a Mando visual dictionary? Like
Mhm.
I miss those. Those things are so
I
awesome.
think because we were supposed to have a book and then they canceled it. I think it's
They
just
canceled
like
the book.
they don't want
Ooh.
supplementary material coming out while the show's airing.
Well,
which
so
I
just
think
make
is
it and
stupid.
schedule it
Yeah.
for later. That's like when they
Yeah.
canceled the Rise of Skywalker comic and a bunch of the merch saying that it would give away plot of the movie. I'd rather have all this stuff coming out.
The fact that we
then-
still don't have a Jedi Training Leia Black series or a Rey with her new saber
We have
Black
like
series.
three fucking
years
Rise
later.
of Skywalker Black series, like one
Yeah.
random Knight of Ren, Rey,
Sith
and then-
Trooper
for funk,
and
for
Kylo.
funk.
yeah, Sith Trooper and
And
Kylo.
I think
That's it.
Janna has one too, but that's
Oh,
Yeah,
not
and
she
there's
does. She
there
does.
is the they fly now jet trooper as well. I think.
Yeah, they have the
they did one of
Funko
those?
for
fly now.
they have the
I don't
Funko for like
remember that.
Ray and Ben because I have those too.
I have
But,
those
like,
too.
I have the
but, like,
Funko of
I
the
need more.
the speeder, the little like troll speeder thing, which is actually
yeah.
pretty cool. I will say.
I want the
it's-
Leia and Luke one, but they're probably like $500 now on eBay because those were con exclusives. Because
Jeez.
all the good merch these days is con exclusive, but then you go to Celebration and it's like Chewie, Luke, Stormtrooper, Vader, Boba Fett. I'm like, cool, thanks. We haven't had
Yeah.
these before.
Yeah,
that's
bring
my-
back good ass Star Wars Celebration exclusive merch that then gets a second release with a couple less accessories later.
It was like Thrawn last time I went, and then like now it's...
And then they re-released Thrawn and just didn't have all of this stuff. Same with
Yeah.
Rex. They had the convention exclusive Rex, and then they re-released him, and he just didn't have all the extra accessories.
Yeah,
Let me run Hasbro.
Yeah, I remember
do a
getting
better
the
job.
celebration. This is a complete tangent at the end of the episode, but 2017.
Can we
they
please
had
wrap it up?
Yeah. I'm not going to have this tangent. Actually, never mind. All right, because Connor's got to
Next
go
episode.
somewhere. So, thank you guys for joining us on this episode of
I gotta
For the
keep us on
Republic,
track.
a love letter to Star Wars animation. Thank you.
You,
for doing this.
Mr. Can Jam.
That was once.
Like he's
One
got
time.
he's got another podcast to be on, so we'll let him wrap things up. But thank
Plus,
you for
I've
joining
been in
us.
this situation too many times.
That's very true. That's very true. I'll tell that story off camera. But thank you for joining us. We are almost done with season 1. It was great to be back talking about Clone Wars again because I
It's
feel like
close to being done.
this, like Andor, like just like we were our schedules just weren't working, so we could only really do like one episode a week during Andor. I'm hoping now that things are going to be better, that we can start doing this more consistently. I honestly want to get
Because we're getting
1.
into the we're getting back into animation. It'll give us more.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, if I have it my way, I want to just do Ryloth next week and then just move on to season 2 while we're still covering Bad
cool.
Batch.
Yep.
But yeah, we got the Ryloth art next week, which I have not watched since it first came out. So I'm very interested in
That's
seeing how that's
insane.
been held up. I know it's when we first get
Boys,
Sham. We get
Waxer
Sham.
and Boyle.
Yes!
Oh, my boys. Speaking
Oh.
of, if anybody wants a Wax from Boyle Black series, apparently the Alex Express Custom are doing Waxer and Boils with their knockoff Black series, but there might be lead paint poisoning in those, so just be kind of cautious of that one.
You know, a fun snack to have later in
Worth
the
it
day.
for the shelf.
Yeah. So Connor, you can start things off because you got a dip. Where can the people find you?
Twitter and Hive, both at Depa Banana. Instagram at ConmanJFO. You can also find me at the Nerd Academy podcast, specifically the Star Wars segment, Knights of the Nerd Republic, where I talk with my other podfather, Jared, who we've had on here as a guest. Pretty much the same thing I do here that we do there, talk Star Wars. And then sweditor.ig.com/fiction. I work with Don. I work with Jake, probably Andrew in the near future, and just a lot of other talented and creative people to craft a connected universe of Star Wars fan stories. I have some in the works. One I can talk about. It's coming out in March. Yeah, it's not hitting Kyber. That release schedule has changed again.
Yeah, you lied last episode.
Yeah, you said January. You said a couple weeks. Now it's gone. What is going on?
Well, I needed to make sure. So, but it's a new story, but a story I've been working on for a bit. It's coming out in March. It is called A Knight's Welcome. It is a short story, and I mean short. Like you can finish it in 10 minutes. It's that short. It's set sometime after Fallen Order, and I'll just give the synopsis. A fateful encounter with a mysterious being leads Cal to discover secrets of the Force he once thought impossible.
Ooh. Are we allowed to
There's
talk
your
about this, or are we going to get like...
Oh, Austin's
DMCA
coming for
by
us now
Austin?
after he said that.
Yeah, like I don't know if this has been announced yet, but...
Just
It
have
has
to
not.
bleep that whole thing out.
No. I DM'd him today asking if I could just hype it up. He's like, yeah.
All right,
All right,
sweet.
cool.
Cool.
All
right. Do you got a
I got
dip
the I got the
now,
permission.
or are you good to chill till the end of the episode?
I'm probably gonna head out now.
All right, sweet. So
See ya.
see y'all
buddy.
later. Connor, it's been nice. So now it's just the three of us. So Don, where can the people find you? I can't speak.
You can find me on Twitter at Donovan Mead, where I tweet about like Star Wars a lot, also Doctor Who, Marvel, politics occasionally. You can also find me on Hive at Donovan McComish. You know, I've posted it a little bit there, planning on doing a bit more because like I do like Hive, and
I haven't touched it in 2 months. I'm going to be completely honest.
feel
I
like
haven't touched in a while either.
I know it is kind of like it has been. The glitches have really hurt it, but I feel like it's back up now, and it is nice to kind of like just step into like a less like charged space really with Hive. But yeah, you can find me at Donovan McComish. You can find me on Instagram at Donovan_McComish. You can also find me on sweditorig.com, where, as Conor said, I'm part of the story group, with Conor and Jake. We've been writing stories, articles. I've written one story, Scars of War. It launched last year in June. It focuses on a Jedi survivor of Order 66 and a clone survivor, Sharkoon and Blister, respectively, and it's all about them dealing with their shared trauma. So, like, if you like Star Wars that deals in pain and is sort of moves on from the Clone Wars, then give it a shout. Jake did excellent artwork for it. Can't say enough about like the quality of that man's cover art. But yeah, check it out if you want to. It was fun to write.
All right, Jake.
Yeah, I'm on Twitter, Hive, and Instagram now. Jedi Jake __ at the end. And as the previous two have said, I'm part of Star Wars Editor Fiction. I wrote a comic last year called The Day the Sky Turned Green. I've got... Well, fuck, I don't know how many stories now that are coming out this year. At least 2, maybe 4. So yeah, might be a busy year for me with that. And I do cover art. I did the cover art for Don's story, Scars of War. I did the cover art for our spooky little Halloween story from 2 years ago. I also did all the cover art for the Starbirds Initiative, which is a Rebels project. So yeah, that's where I'm at.
All right, sweet. And as for myself, you can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Starlight Andrew. You can also follow the pod on Twitter at For the Repub Pod, and on Instagram and TikTok at For the Republic Pod. We're posting a lot of fun clips from the episodes and obviously doing promo whenever new stuff is dropping about the show. So make sure you follow us on everything. Also subscribe to our YouTube For the Republic Podcast, so you can check out the jump scare of Cursed Jar Jar repeatedly throughout this episode.
One more time.
One more time for the road.
Oh no.
Yeah. As for stuff I'm working on, I have a new project that I've been working on with a couple friends that I'm probably going to drop soon-ish. You can check out my Twitter for more info on that. Coming soon. I just don't know how much I can say. And then sweditorig.com, like the rest of them said, I got a couple stuff coming in the pipeline. But yeah, I can't really talk about it much because I don't know what I'm really working on right now, but it's coming. That's all I know. And yeah, you can follow me on Twitter just talking about random stuff that I've been getting, because all of my packages I've ordered throughout the past 6 months are just coming like right now. So every day I'm like, oh, here's another Black Series figure I ordered, and here's another one I ordered, and here's another one I ordered, and it just keeps coming. So like that.
Yep.
Bad boy right there, Ayla Sakura, who I got in honor of Conor right after he hurt us when I was building that bit up.
Yeah.
Building that bit up.
What the fuck is this? Why is my Quizzy's head through the roof?
Hello. I have no head.
Hello.
Yet I still speak.
Hasbro, let me run the Star Wars department.
We got to get you that job. We got to do it. If we can do anything, it's getting Jake that job. So thank you for joining us. Hope none of you caught the Blue Shadow virus while watching this episode, but thank you for joining us on our journey through Star Wars once again. We'll see you later this week for our Bad Batch coverage once again, and probably back here next week to finish off Season 1 of the Clone Wars. So until then, we'll see you guys later, and may the Force be with you. Always.